All right, hold on. The cloak was too high. No, I don't understand why OBS is just constantly disconnecting. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not losing internet, and I have OBS up and running perfectly fine, but it seems like we're back up and running now. But why do you keep disconnecting? What the hell is wrong with you? I even updated you. That's the thing. I updated you and you haven't required a new update yet. So I don't know why you're crapping out all of a sudden. Stupid thing. Oh well. Okay, let's see. Let's get us back here. Uh, nice pen. Oh, good lord. What have you done now? Okay, come on. There we go. Oh, hold on. My side is acting like it doesn't want to cooperate with me, so let me swap this over. Come on, work, damn it. Heck, you literally just showed me you were working. Oh yeah, no, the t-shirt was wonderful. I've been wearing it since I got out of the shower earlier. Okay, come on, stupid thing. You're telling me that you're working, and then as soon as I load up, you're not. You literally are not working. Why? Seriously. I need to know that you are actually connected and working. And I do not appreciate that you are showcasing that you are working on the PC, but you are no longer working on the phone. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to drop. Please stop. Just let me access the thing that I'm trying to access. Phone. I should not have to exit out of 15 ads just to be able to hit stop and then go live again. Quit. Okay, now. Please load. There we go. And doing a lot more than expecting grave rot by the looks of this. Good lord. Okay, good lord. Now that it's back up and running. Okay, jeez. Alright, welcome back, everybody. I know you guys have been able to see a bit longer than I have. But here we are. We're back. So, or please tell me we're back. Hopefully it's back up and running correctly and not causing any more hang-ups or issues. Okay, good. Then, yes, as you can clearly see, I am wearing the A&E shirt because it was the most comfortable shirt for me to put on after my shower, and of course the Loki-inspired Norse cloak / jacket is fantastic. It has a nice thick fur Sherpa lining, so now that my house is very heavily cooled off thanks to the repairs that me and my friend were able to rock out on the AC unit, it is perfect. Welcome back there, Porsche. So, Landon, as I was trying to show you before, stream decided to just kill itself, the same person who I got the dragon necklace and ring that I painted up before the Ren Fair, I had ordered a dice vault from the individual, and he messaged me literally right after I ordered it saying that his machine, his printer that he typically printed that on, went down, and he needed to get some parts for it. Well, as it turns out, he got the part for it, and what we have here is the first part of the top of the dice vault, which is the actual black dragon head, and the vault itself is the actual breath weapon being shot out from that draconic head, and it will hold quite a good little bit, including minis, pencils, and multiple sets of dice. So that is on the docket to be painted up. Yellow Dragon. There you go, Ramesine. Hell yeah. So that is going to be on the docket to paint. I have magnets coming in tomorrow, so I will be magnetizing this dice vault so that it will hold the dragon skull, or the dragon head, onto it, as well as hold the vault together. One of the things that I sent you a DM about did arrive. The creature whose name I will not say on stream currently, but he did arrive. And the other greater evil that he is a part of will be here Wednesday, so I will showcase him when he gets here. But I love how this print came out. He looks absolutely devious as well as surprisingly pettable for what he's supposed to be. The topic that everybody else that we were all discussing was I did wind up catching this as it was in stock after being out of stock for a year, and it was on sale. But we have a time dragon. And these things were only mentioned once in Dungeons & Dragons in a single issue of Dragon Magazine. They do not technically have a stat block, and they technically are not canon, but they are treated like they're in canon. So naturally, I had to get it. These are a type of creature you're never meant to fight, so this will just get to represent me as a DM, so he will hang out on top of my DM screen. But the truly evil thing that I want to showcase to you, Landon, which happily steal this if you wish, for your one shot or any future DM shenanigans that you choose to get up to, or even a game that you happen to find a way to get involved in. I very much implore you to utilize. That's going to fall before it. Yep. To utilize this individual. So, just like I did before, this is a standard player character. About the size of a standard player character. So, as long as that stays in frame, we'll move that so that you can see the sheer scale of this. But this is what I like to call, this is no longer a mini, this is just a piece of environment. This is Aventurus. She is more than just a big boy. She is unique in her ability to control magic items as well. And is technically a dragon with Stockholm Syndrome. I will highly recommend, I did drop her name in chat earlier in its full spelling, but you can also look her up under Old Ice Claws. Because I'm guaranteeing I'm not pronouncing her name of Aventurus correctly. But she has a fantastically tragic storyline that made her one of my favorite named dragons. And as I have mentioned before, especially to those, the few of my players who are in chat currently, if I have the mini, I will eventually use it. Do with that knowledge as you will. But yes, she herself is a wonderful monstrosity, but she is also the biggest she will ever get unless she were to become a chromatic great worm, but that is technically the size of an ancient. Yeah, very, very much so. And in fact, that may actually be the thing that keeps you alive there, Ramesine, is to keep that reverence in mind. Because she is known to be susceptible to flattery. As it seems is almost all dragon weaknesses are. But I think she's incredibly neat, and I love her, and I actually feel like I can tell Ed Greenwood and the original writers for her did a fantastic job, because even though it is a quote-unquote chromatic evil dragon, you feel bad for her. Because at the end of the day, you realize she lost a friend and just wants company. And has even entertained incredibly powerful mages as guests in her home just to have conversations with. And has allowed people to return home without being harmed. As long as you don't insult her, the dead wizard on her back, or attempt to attack her, you typically can get safe passage away from her. Go for it there, Porsche. By all means, I absolutely love nerding out about dragons with anybody. Because if you haven't been able to point out that it's like my Russian sleeper cell agent word, it activates my tism in the best way possible. Or the worst, depending on who you ask. Is it doing it again? OBS, what the hell is going on with you? Why are you having such difficulty tonight? Did we survive or did we crash again? Because I'm seeing, watching the phone is showcasing a massive delay. Okay, so we're all right. It's just OBS is just having an aneurysm. Well, I guess I haven't used it in a long enough time. It's forgotten how to work. Stay on target. Well, I mean, that's the thing is, like, I'm not due to go down for maintenance for like another 2 weeks. Like, we shouldn't be having an outage or any problem here. So I really don't know what's going on with it. But, like I said, soon I won't have this issue any longer because once we get the house set back up the way that it needs to be, the PC will be receiving a direct link into the fiber optic cable. So I should not be having these issues here fairly soon. I don't understand why I'm having an issue with it now all of a sudden. But, you know, I guess for a return stream, you know, it's not officially a stream unless there's scuff to it, right? Because if it were to work perfectly, then it wouldn't be a professional stream, right? Now that it's officially been scuffed a couple of times, we are officially back in action as professional streamers. There you go, exactly. Exactly there, Ramesine. Anything authentic will have some dirt or some scuff to it. It adds character. That's as my grandfather would constantly say, is, you know, it adds a bit of character to it. Keeps you humble. But we're at least going to see if we can't finish up this guy tonight, which shouldn't be a problem unless OBS continues to give me a massive headache. But we're going to get this dice tower finished up tonight. That way on Wednesday we can showcase the new horror that will show up on Wednesday. And I'll have the magnets for the dice vault, and we'll go ahead and start work on the Dice Vault because I really want to get that painted up before I wind up having my next any new D&D session, because I think that would be fantastic, especially how I at least see it getting painted up and looking in my head. I cannot wait to get started on that. But before I can start on that, we've at least got to finish what we started here. Or else my pile of shame will just become piles of half-finished ideas. As opposed to being, just a pile of shame that I'm slowly working my way through. Hey man, the work that you've been doing has been fantastic, but I mean, I do understand why you are kind of in your break is, you're trying to get vehicles up and running, and that's just as intensive as working in the force sometimes, I know. I just hate that both you and your significant other's cars are down at the moment, so hopefully, when you go to talk to the guys about that Soul again, with those fresh new parts in it, hopefully they'll wind up cutting you a good deal since, you were supposed to test drive it and then they put it down for maintenance. Maybe use that as a little bit of a negotiation tactic, like, hey, you were about to sell me something that probably wasn't going to function. Jeez, man. But, hey, pull that. Like, hey, you were about to let me ride out of here with something that wasn't going to function right. Let's talk about, what we can do to make that right. Alright, so got staff painted up pretty well there. I don't mind if a little bit of that base coat bleeds through, because ultimately that gives it almost a little bit more in the term of texture for the supposed wood grain of the staff. So, let's see here. Now we need to... There's red and leather that needs done. And then we're going to need a little bit of silver, and a little bit more of the gold. I actually like the sound of that there, Porsche. Well, I mean, I'm not up to date on Strixhaven, as I kind of quit, basically once I got Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, and, Xanathar's Guide to Everything. I basically had everything that I felt that I needed to start going wild with my D&D campaigns, and really that's the basis of where I kind of stopped. Was I mostly just, I got all of the things that I felt that I needed to just free run and start homebrewing everything that I wanted out of D&D, and those were the main books that I needed. So I'm actually not very up to date on the Witchlight, the Carnival or the Wild Beyond It, and I'm also not incredibly up to date on Strixhaven. But at the same time, the sound of that actually does sound fairly interesting. Having dragons be the creators of, especially for like a school setting. Like I get who that was meant for, and I love that people enjoy it. It just, for me, I just basically needed things for world building because by that point I had also gotten Tal'Dorei Reborn from, I think that was Darrington Press, which is, famously Critical Role's world setting, and like all of the shenanigans that they get up to, and, the stuff that Matt Mercer has homebrewed. Ah, okay. I mean that no, that's fair, Cody. I mean, like you should. I find it weird when DMs will just drop like a current setting and dive headfirst into another. Like to me, you should transition your game, but you should also kind of discuss that with your players before you just drop everything that you were currently involved in or already working towards with the current thing, or at the very least be like, hey, this week we're going to take a break from our current setting and we're going to do a one shot with this. Oh, that'll look awesome there, Ramesine. Hell yeah. I definitely want to see pictures of that. But yeah, like at the very least, a DM should be communicative with his players. If, like, hey, yeah, well, yeah, okay, let's see. Homebrew is too much. Ah, okay, no, that would have irritated me as well. Because at the very least, you could have been like, hey, let's just take a little bit of a break. We're going to do essentially like an extended one shot in this world. Let's let's kind of put this one on hold for a little bit, but we can come back to it. I really want to see what this one's about, and then we can go from there. Like he shouldn't have just scrapped his whole previous campaign in favor of Strixhaven. You get you some good rest there, Porsche. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I will definitely check into what you have sent me here after we get done with stream. But you have a wonderful night and get you some good rest. But yeah, no, I understand that pain. They're cozy as I did long ago when Old was young. I had a guy who was running a bunch of different D&D campaigns and Pathfinder campaigns for me, and I was absolutely enthralled. But I could very much tell that this guy who was running it was a ADHD DM, because he would go from being fully enamored and fully rip-roaring and ready to go on this campaign. He would hype us all up for it, and then we would play like 2 sessions into the campaign, and then he would get hit with another bit of inspiration from something completely different, or a new bit of unearthed arcana would come out, and he would just be dying to try it, so he would just scrap uh, either the whole campaign or a massive chunk of it, just for us to incorporate or try the new thing, only for him to later be like, yeah, that wasn't what I was expecting it to be, let's go back to what we were doing. So a lot of times it was just very jarring trying to keep up with him as he kind of went back and forth multiple times over what it was he was wanting to do and what he thought he wanted to do. Thankfully, one of the guys that was in that group wound up kind of taking over as DM for the majority of us who were still, attempting to learn and play and wanted more of a dedicated story. So thankfully that situation rectified itself, but it definitely does put a bit of a bad taste in your mouth when you can't trust whether or not your DM is going to just scrap everything and try and do something completely different. Especially when it comes to something that you were already, fairly heavily invested in and greatly enjoying. Which is why I feel bad that I had to stop running my D&D games that I was running, but both of them were basically, I was essentially running them so that people who were new to D&D could learn to play. Personally, there, Ramesine, I am partial more to the partisan, but that's just because utility-wise, to me, a partisan is more useful than a trident. But by all means, go off and create either or. I'm going to be happy as hell to see them both. Alright, let's add a little bit of personality to our Corvid here. Give him a little something to make him pop and stand out a little bit as well. Alright. But, speaking of one-shots and things of the matter, Landon and I am getting more and more excited for yours as it comes to getting closer and closer to time for us to see how that's going to go down. I am hyped as hell to see what kind of shenanigans winds up coming from it. Because I can already tell that it's going to be fantastic. Okay. Now we just have the bag to do. And the brim here of that. Alright, Ramesine, you get you some good rest, man, and I will talk to you here fairly soon. I look forward to seeing what it is that you come up with in terms of that. Oh, I already know it's going to be a blast, Landon, because simply the fact that you're having fun with it, that's how it's going to be perfect. Because that's the majority of it. The majority of any good storytelling or any good DMing is just very simply you're having fun with it, and thus by proxy or by participation, everyone else is going to have a blast with it too. And I know you're a bit of a perfectionist, and I know you're, yeah, that you're not wrong there, Cozy. You're not wrong at all. But as long as you're having fun and everyone around you is having fun, there is no wrong way to be a DM or run a one shot or even a full blown campaign. As long as you're having fun and everybody else is having fun with you, you're doing it right. Yeah, no, I've been there. Uh, that 100%. I've been there too. There, but that's what makes it fun. Your players can't plan if you don't have one. Just remember, it is essentially just a table version of whose line is it anyway? We're all playing yes and. There is technically no wrong answer. Unless you're evil like me, and then everything is the wrong answer until you try something either stupid or funny enough that I say, yeah, that was it. That is 100% the way you should look at it, Landon, because I learned very quickly, even in the first couple sessions with the guys I played D&D with, when I was their DM, there is no amount of anything that I can do to prevent chaos or put them on track to something. All I can do is give them options and see how things wind up happening. And Ramesine is the most notorious member of my party for that very reason. I mean, 100%. It is just the fact that your way and your chaos works so perfectly with everyone else in the group there, Ramesine. So yes, keep on being that wonderful chaos gremlin that you are, especially when we get to pick back up. But you have you a wonderful night, man, and we will talk to you here soon. But I mean, yeah, the more chaos it is, the funnier the session winds up going, and ironically, the less work you have to do as a DM. Because once the party starts reacting to one person's chaos, they'll start role playing, and you just get to sit back and enjoy the show. So by all means, when you start this, make sure you got some good snacks and sit back and be ready for whatever to happen to happen. And I cannot wait to see the end result of all the work that you've done to get it to the point that it is, and what winds up happening when you turn it over to to the members of your community that get to partake in it, either as NPCs or as actual players. I am so hyped and so interested to see what winds up happening when you turn the cafe into D&D characters. Because only good and chaotic things can come from it. Alright, that's gonna get... That will probably need a second coat. But we'll see. But I'm... Because I know the current chaos that I'm involved in, I find it so funny that my buddy is putting up with my dumbassery and shenanigans. But, I mean, he did give me a black dragon egg, and I am slowly but surely looking to turn this creature into a somewhat... I'm planning to turn it into a vampire dragon, which will run off of a fear mechanic, much like how my character Al feeds off of fear. Because, fun fact, as a Dhampir, you do not have to specifically feed off of blood in D&D. So I chose fear as my method of feeding because my character is just 110% unsettling to begin with, let alone the fact that he can get inside your head and find out what scares you the most and then force you to see it. So yeah, the idea of turning a black dragon into a vampire dragon that also can feed off of fear is going to be a very, very interesting idea. And the fact that my buddy is willing to run with this as a concept that he is actively letting me work towards makes this so much more fun. So I cannot wait to see the end result of the chaos that I'm going to unleash. And also I can't wait for the punishment that he has in store for me for attempting to unleash such punishment, such chaos into his game world. I am very interested to see how he finds a way to either twist this against me or just how he allows me to get away with it. Because either way, it is going to be a blast. Because I know long ago I learned probably the funniest lesson for tabletop RPGs. I am not afraid of rolling low, and I am not afraid of rolling the failure. Because to me, the failure can be just as hilarious and epic as the success can be. And honestly, I am just very interested to see what winds up coming from either the success or failure of any of the shenanigans we get up to. But that's also probably like the best mindset a D&D player can have is the failure is just as good as the success. Even if it cost me, a character, it was still something hilarious that I was able to put together to add to the story. Okay, so this is turning out pretty good. We're getting a good bit of progress here. Purposely trying to lay on this coat of red a little thick because when it dries, it does kind of look like distressed leather. So I'm trying purposely to lay it on a little thick so that when it dries and the spots that the paint started to run out will kind of give itself its own almost textured look. But also, I'm just going to be happy to have this dice tower done because it's probably one of the oldest things in my pile of shame currently. Because I got this from going to a convention right after my divorce. So it's been here for a little bit now. And it deserves to be finished so that way it can be used. And not to mention, it's going to look like a really nice display piece once I get all the shelves and whatnot in the living room set up. It'll go really well with the death save tower that I have, because I have another 3D printed dice tower that's a skull that looks like it's on a cave floor with a spider crawling on top of it that I painted up around the same time that I got this. And when I was running my games, I kept that on the table as the death save dice tower. So if a character or player ever went down and started having to roll death saves, I would roll their dice through that tower. But also, as a DM, I'm a little bit evil, as if I haven't stated this more than once, but I roll my players' death saves for them. And I don't tell them if they made a success or not. Because to me, I know when I was a kid playing D&D, dying at the table it's a big deal. So, but when a player rolls a death save and they look at their dice and like, oh, that's a failure, everybody else at the table is going to be like, oh, well, I need to, go and tend to my friend. because I know he's already failed one of his death saves. And if he fails another, then he's probably not going to get back up. So if I go over to him now, I can save him. Which, granted, yes, that would be what you would want your friends to do, is to come to your aid. But at the same time, if they're in the middle of a fight and it's going, nobody knows how the fight is going and a player goes down and the player themselves doesn't know if they passed or succeeded, you just added a whole nother layer of tension and drama to your game. Because now, do I go over and help my fallen friend, or do I keep fighting the fight? Is my friend going to be okay, or is he already in trouble? I don't know. So now my players have to think a little bit more. And usually they will act more in terms of how their characters would act, as opposed to, oh, well, crap, Old just went down, I need to go pick him up. So to me, what I do in the situation of after I roll, regardless of if it's a success or failure, I ask the player, hey, give us a memory of your character, something that he will be remembering as he is possibly dying. Like, what are his thoughts in this moment as he is slipping into unconsciousness? What does his mind go to? So I am encouraging storytelling and roleplay from my characters by withholding information from them. Which also makes them panic, because now they're like, oh, why are you having me tell you memories? That's not a good thing, because, they say your life flashes before your eyes and you're asking me for memories? Oh no. It's a fun, evil little trick that I picked up. Because again, it forces players to act more as their characters as opposed to acting above table. Because, like, Landon, say you and I are playing a game and your character goes down or my character goes down, and I tell you, hey, I succeeded on my first death save, don't worry about it. Like, as soon as I say that I succeeded one of those death saves, you're no longer worried about me. Because you're like, okay, he's going to be stabilized either by his next turn, or he's going to be, someone else is going to get to him because, he's not in trouble yet. As opposed to, if we're playing and I say, oh, well, shit, I just failed my death save. Now everyone at the table is going to try to disengage to go over there and make sure that I either get back up or I stabilize so that I don't die. But if the DM controls, is the one rolling that dice and doesn't tell you whether you succeed or fail, and just asks you for a memory, regardless of if you succeed or fail, now everybody is in the dark, except for you, the DM. Because you know what that player just rolled. You know if they succeeded or failed. And also, it makes for a really fun moment when you roll that dice and that player gets a natural 20 on their death save and they get back up at 1 HP and they are completely confused and bewildered and now shocked that they're back up standing. It makes for more fun, dramatic moments at the table, in my opinion. So, Landon, 100% steal that from me. Cozy, you as well. Should you, push the Tiny Squad into Season 2? A little evil tip to utilize against your players. You can have that bit of advice for free. Because that is 100% something that I love to use. But I also entered into a deal with my players, as I'm not maliciously going to go out of my way to kill their players, or my player characters. Because, a lot of the people who I had at my table are first-time players. They just didn't realize how evil of a DM I was going to be to them until after they sat down and endured a couple of sessions with me, and now they're 100% gung-ho about it. They still give me shit about it, though. Especially my brother's girlfriend. She will constantly throw shade and say, hey, you're just evil and you enjoy torturing us. And no, I told you I wouldn't do something. You asked me for this, and you told me that you didn't want me to do X, Y, or Z in the process. That's fine. I told you that was fine, but I told you that I would do something completely different in order to make up for the fact that I'm not going to be able to traumatize you in the way that you were expecting. But now that you've given me permission, essentially, to run you through a very different gauntlet than what you were prepared for, congratulations. You now get to learn there's more than one way to traumatize players. And I don't have to destroy anything. I can just make things infinitely worse than you ever expected them to be. And I absolutely love doing that. Because, I'm just as chaotically evil as my players expect me to be, if not more so. So by all means, tap into that inner evil voice and just see what it has to say. Sometimes the ideas you get from it wind up panning out absolutely wonderfully. At least in the terms of, tabletop. Alright, let's see here. Okay. Let that dry, and let's hit this little band up here on top of the hat. And then once that's dried, we'll just have to do a couple pieces of small minor details because, I know they exist, so I might as well do something with it. And then we'll move on to the base. And once I do a little bit of extra detail work here and there on the base, I'll be able to count this as fully finished. But I'll wait until tomorrow after I get off work. And I'll come home and spray it down with that enamel clear coat to kind of protect the paint and whatnot. And then I'll touch up the ring and the dragon necklace over there and hit those real quick with another blast of the clear coat, just to ensure, because they survived really well considering I had a bunch of crap bouncing off of them all throughout the Ren Fair. Only a little bit of paint actually chipped away, so I'm rather impressed by the clear coat that I used. But I do also have an enamel clear coat that will be a good bit stronger. So I'll touch those two up tomorrow while the clear coat on this one dries. And then I'll blast them with the same clear coat. And then those will be done, as will this. And then we just have a few things left to do before we can start moving forward with a couple of the ideas that I've discussed with you in private there, Landon. So I have a few people to reach out to in the coming days to see if I can maximize a couple of things and get a little bit of assistance here and there on a few ideas. But once that is done, I'll basically have everything set up for the big event. And then at that point, all that will be left to have happen is the getting the house, getting everything moved where it needs to be from that point, and then we can do our big event, which by the looks of it will probably wind up coinciding with my affiliate anniversary. Which, if that is the case, then we will just do this as a essentially big 2-in-1 idea. So, no, it does go in your hands this way. Question is whether there it goes. Okay, so that goes in your paw that way. There we go. That means there we go. Channel, get in the hand like you just were. You were just in the hand perfectly. Come on. There it goes. Alright, so this is how he will look, which I will leave this to dangle freely, because honestly I think that will add a bit of quote-unquote character.
Stop screaming!
Well,
Zion
Cherry, welcome aboard. I hope you're doing alright tonight. And I hope that the evening finds you well. Okay, so that will be how he will look, which we do have test dice here. So, hey, not bad, an 18. So, all right, that is how he will activate, or at least work, and we will have him glued down to his base here. But like I said, I'll save gluing him down permanently to it until after I hit everything with the clear coat. But while we sit here and work on that, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of extra work on the base and add a little bit of tiny details here and there, because, you know, what's the point in having fun with something if you can't add unnecessary tiny details to it? But again, glad to have you aboard there, Zion Cherry. I hope you're having a wonderful night. Grab you a good drink and a snack, and enjoy the chaos. Unfortunately, I will not be attending Furlandia at this current moment, just simply because I'm in the process of ensuring my house is up and running. But maybe next year I could maybe see about getting time off of work and heading out that way. It depends. That's actually not one that I've been to, and I haven't been out to Oregon in a long time. So, I mean, we'd see. I wouldn't say I'm opposed to going. Just I would need the time and the funds for it. But maybe, if not this year, maybe I can put it on the docket for... No, I haven't been to Furlandia at all. The only one... I only just recently started going to conventions again. The last one that I went to was Anthro New England. And before that, I went to Anthrocon last year. Those have been the only two I've gone to in any recent memory. They were... Now, I will say AC was absolutely fantastic. And 10 out of 10 would 100% go back to AC. I think that was a blast. I met some of the absolute... oh no, you're no worries there, Zion. I met some of the best people at AC, and I met back up with a good bit of them and a few new ones over at Anthro New England. It's just... Unfortunately, this year it seems A&E was not the con that it was advertising itself to be, and it seems that they are trying to go above and beyond to correct that mistake by getting a better venue for the fact that they have continued to grow. But it may be a while before I'm at least going to have to wait a little bit before I decide A&E is worth it again. 100% would go back for the same people. Not so much sure if I would go back for the con itself. It very well may have been, as I know I am not the only Scully that runs around. As I have seen quite a lot of wonderful Scullies out and about in the community, which is fantastic. I love seeing everyone's creativity on display and seeing the multitude of masks and heads that get created. And so, no, but unfortunately, I haven't been up to Furlandia. But like I said, I'm not opposed to it. It won't be this year that I'd be able to go because I'm currently in the middle of a housing project. But maybe in the coming year or so, I'd be happy to head up that way and see exactly what it is I've been missing. Alright, let's start adding some of these fun little details. Now that I'm getting a little warm here, let's lose some of this. Let's lose this cloak as much as I love lounging around in it. Oh, that felt fantastic. Okay, so what? Use that one. Nope. Still need the silver. Where did that? There it is. Oh, the joys of being partially colorblind and attempting to paint around with colors you don't see very well. Okay, so let's see. When you are connected to your base, where exactly does the dice let out for you? Come on now. There. Here. I mean, fair. Yes, the shirt itself is actually very well made and just very, very comfortable. But I do agree. Though to be fair, Landon, the con itself may have been a bust, but it was you and the cafe that definitely made the trip worth it for me and Dragon to drive up that far. And like me and him have mentioned, I would happily make that drive again. Just probably wind up doing what we wound up doing near the end, or at least after the second day of the con, where we just kind of fuck off and have our own fun. And explore the city and see what shenanigans we can get into that way. But I will admit, this is a fantastically comfortable shirt, despite the invalidity of what I had to pay to get it. I hate that the con experience was not as good as how AC wound up being last year, but I do absolutely love that, we had all the friendos up there and we made the best of it regardless. I got the Gremlins their souvenirs. I got myself a nice little souvenir or two. I got to, run into some art, some more of those wonderful artists that I had been following for a good long while. So yeah, I wouldn't say it was 100% a bust, but definitely the management of A&E was some of the worst I think I've seen. Oh God, yeah, that Italian restaurant. It's funny that you mentioned that. Oh yes, you guys need to and get that woman's name. She was absolutely fantastic. Because it's funny you mentioned that because over our dinner tonight, my aunt was saying that she had made some gnocchi from scratch at home before we went out to my gremlin's ceremony tonight. And I of course brought up our time at A&E, and I was like, oh no, the best food that I've ever had in terms of just like pure Italian was this wonderful restaurant that we discovered up there when we all went to A&E, and it was God's. It was so wonderful. And then of course, trash being trash while everybody else was trying to enjoy some of that lemon chuli that was getting passed around. That was fantastic. I think we all need to go back to that restaurant at some point, as it was. Oh, that was the best food I think I've had in forever. And also that bakery that we went to right after that restaurant was amazing. Me and Dragon still laugh about how we just went. We tapped into our inner fat kids when we got back to the hotel because we didn't have any eating utensils. We just were hand fisting every bit of those wonderful baked goods and just pushing them down our gullets. It was great. I had an absolute blast despite, everything else that was happening while we were up there. But yeah, if you and Leaf go back, by all means, especially if she's there again, please get that woman's name. She deserves a raise, or any. She deserves the restaurant. She ran that place perfectly. I can 100% agree with that. But it was just the idea of me and Dragon at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Just you know what, man? We still have those pastries we got from that wonderful little bake shop, don't we? Yeah, yeah, we do. Hand me the box, and then just just fucking grabbing it and ham fisting it the whole way was just fantastic. Oh man, like dra- I constantly send Dragon notifications when you go live, so that way he can join in on the Discord server and everything. But his hours are so weird that it's hard for me to actually get a hold of him until it's late in the evening. And by that point, well, no, I mean I guess tomorrow, because I know me and him usually game during the day or during the night when I'm not streaming. I'll just shoot you a message or something about it to get him in the server because he needs to be in there with us, especially after the shenanigans that we all got up to while we were up there at A&E. Okay, let's see. We're gonna. So what I've done here is just very simply, I've added a good little bit of water just to kind of give a little bit of character to our base here. So what I'm going to do now is on the inside walls here, I'm going to add a little bit of green for moss slash algae. And actually this green is probably a little too vibrant. Where's that other one? No, that's the same color. Where is that other green? I had a darker green. Somewhere. There it is. Yeah, that should work. Again, the joys of attempting to paint when you can't see colors. Alright, let's see. Just grease this up a little bit with some greens. Because, you know, when I think of the good doctors running around treating people with plague, it's always in, you know, even though technically that wasn't in the same time period, but, you know, those wonderful Victorian cobblestone streets were never the best in terms of sanitation. So this gets to add fun bits of desiccated uncleanliness, I guess one could say, as well as a nice, good bit of character throughout the storytelling. Because again, as those of you who've watched me paint before, I am massively into the environmental storytelling. So if I can get away with it, I'm going to. But at the same time, I don't want to go too overboard. Because if I go too much, then it kind of takes on a whole different integration or idea than what I intend to. And so we're just gonna kind of dabble and model here and there. Some of it goes on a little thicker than others, so it's a nice, what's the word I'm looking for, a kind of nice integration between each area. And showcasing it's just uneven throughout, and that the filth is not overly concentrated, I guess you could say. There we go. Alright, now for the inside here, I'm just gonna kind of dapple a bit around where I've got the water here. Okay. Slowly but surely come together here. And put more around the base here of the wall on the inside of this. Okay. Just let the fun chaos ride. That will be where brushstroke falls. There we go. Because that main area is going to be where he sits once he's glued down. that's not actually going to need to be messed with. Alright, so all that is left is to do the last little bit of detail on the bag. Well, thank you there, Landon. I think it's come together pretty well, especially considering that I'm just kind of chaotically swiping the brush left and right. Alright, so it seems my headset is giving me a warning, so let's fix that real quick. Apologies for the noise you're about to hear. There we go. Alright, that should, in theory, now be working, yes, as it should be. There we go. Alright. Now, yeah, that's good. Get you taken care of on your last little bit of detail. And then we will officially finish it tomorrow after getting it sprayed down with a nice bit of clear coat. Tiny little details. Tiny little details that mostly only I can see. But that's the thing, I know it's there. Because I know it's there, it needs to be done. Even if no one else appreciates it, I know it's there. Alright. I'm thankful so far, knock on wood, I've only thrown one thing of paint so far tonight. There we go. Let's try not to throw anything while we do the grand reveal of the now finished product. Or at least as finished as it's going to get tonight, because I'm not going to walk outside and aerosol the air too badly. So, we've got our base here with the water, algae, filth filled, Victorian street that will come together as he will sit perfectly here. His staff will embed itself there. So when we roll the dice through the top of his head, it will clack around into here as its own individual tray. And then for the good doctor himself. Let's see here. Might need to lift this up just a little bit. For the good doctor himself, we have his lantern, his ruby red visor's eyes, his staff, complete with a nasty green looking gem, a nicely detailed little bag, and it's just going to sound really good. In fact, let me piece him together here, and we'll go ahead and give him a nice little test roll. So this will be how he looks completed, all the way full. And let's see, let's grab D100 here. And that, wow, okay, that's actually 100 right off the bat. Okay. So that's not bad. So this is how he's going to be once he's finished. Like I said, I will glue him down to his base after I run him over with the clear coat. So he is going to look fantastic. So with him technically finished and out of the way, now we can move on to the fun part, which is the big fun dragon and the dice vault. Because there's ideas I already have for this. So let's just go ahead and see if we can't start off with a base coat of this, because more than likely we are going to need a couple coats of paint on this one. But we can go ahead and get this one started, see how far we get, and then when Wednesday rolls around, we can hop right back in and see if we can't get as much of that done as possible. And then continue moving on with our new and evil projects, because once we get done with the dice vault, we've got this little guy to work with. We have the greater evil that he will be attached to coming in on Wednesday as well. We've got double Efreets that I absolutely cannot wait to paint. We still have the giant rock, the giant from that Kickstarter I funded. We still have the giant Ryoko Koi dragon to paint up, and then once those are done, we can then get into the rest of my pile of shame. But hopefully, by that point, we will be a little further along in the housing project, and I can do the big reveal. But like I said, there's a couple things I need to do in terms of preparing for that, which I will be doing here in the coming days and or weeks. And of course, you know, once I get to the point where we can move forward with the house project, I will be doing my big event, which will, at this point, looks like it will coincide with my affiliate anniversary as well, so we'll just make it into a big celebration. And I can just sit back and hope everything goes as good as it can. That way we can get as much of this housing project taken care of. And there's going to be a lot of surprises in store, a lot of fun rewards, and a lot of fun suffering you guys will get to either induce on me or witness as I struggle to get through the hilarity of what I'm going to be doing. But again, I will leave that as vague as I can currently. That way I can finish getting everything set up and ready for it. And then once the time comes, we will go headlong into it and see what fun and what greater shenanigans we can get up to with it. Alright, let's see how far we can get with this. Because I am in love with this guy's prints. He has done like the necklace and the ring were fantastic, and this vault has, just when it got delivered, it was already better than what I could have expected it to be, and it was way bigger than what I was expecting it to be. So shout out to again, hashtag not sponsored, but a big shout out to Hammer Down Prints on Etsy. Fantastic seller, fantastic printer, and you know, this was so fortified when it was wrapped. Like there was once it finally came in, because he mentioned to me as soon as I ordered that the printer that he uses for his bigger pieces such as this had gone down and he was going to be waiting on a part. He kept me updated the whole time, and as soon as the part got in, he immediately got this printed off and sent me tracking as soon as he got it shipped out. And I mean, it already looks fantastic just as a bare bone print. So I am so excited to get this painted up like the necklace and ring wound up being, because those two turned out absolutely fantastic. And while we were at the fair, we were getting so many compliments on you know, how they looked. I had several people ask who made it, so I doubt you're watching this, but bro, if you're watching from Hammer Down, keep up the fantastic work. As there are several other items on your shop that I would love to get, but I am gonna say you have a Blue Dragon cup that looks immaculate. I think you should also do the same with the Black Dragons, not just the blue. Because if you hit up and print out a Black Dragon cup, I will be 100% honor bound to buy it. To represent my favorite chromatic. But again, I highly doubt that you're here watching me paint this up. But if you are, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And if I did wind up getting somebody to go check out your page, I hope I help you and your business, because you are a fantastic seller. Like, these prints turned out amazing. And I honestly have been geeking out ever since I had it delivered because I just wanted to sit down and paint it. But I figured it would be better to do that on stream as opposed to get it done when no one was watching and then showcase it off to you guys. I like to think that you guys seem to enjoy this little hobby of mine as much as I do. And if nothing else, it just gives me a fun chance to sit back and talk with you guys. Which is, again, the whole point of why I do this in the first place. Is I enjoy the community aspect of it. Just getting to sit back and talk with friends while we either, play games, work on other projects, but it's that ADHD coexisting. Or what's the simultaneous play, I guess is what it's also called. Where you can be doing something while I'm doing something completely different, but it counts as quality time with everybody. Like, I love that. Because that, again, I would be doing this anyway, might as well sit back and enjoy it with friends, because you guys get to poke fun at me when I screw something up, misspeak, or what have you, and we get to just sit back and have a good time. Whether we be gaming, whether we be painting, whether we be just sitting here chatting. It's just, I love it. This is already this is what surprises me so much about these prints, is his prints take the paint so incredibly well. And I don't understand if it's the type of resin that he uses or what, but I don't feel like I have to run back over this multiple times with the same paint over and over again like I do some of the other prints that I have. I'm very glad to be back streaming, because, at first I stopped streaming because, hey, we're going to the Ren Fair, we'll kick it back up and pick up where we left off after we get back from the fair. And then, lo and behold, my AC went out. So I was like, okay, it's getting a little hot. I'm not going to stream until I get the AC repaired. We finally get the AC repaired, and then my sleep schedule goes to shit. And I'm just like, I am coming home from work just exhausted. I'm dead tired. I'm just going to go ahead and hold off until, after the weekend. I'll take the weekend to sit back, rest, and recover, even if I'm going and hanging out with a buddy or not. But once I get back, I've got the AC fixed, I've got, this, that, and the other taken care of, and the housing project is moving and moving forward, so I really don't have, other than, being tired and whatnot, I don't really have anything I have to worry about. And, I can always, try to correct my sleep schedule again. So yeah, I'm glad that I'm back. I'm glad that the house is in a comfortable state again, because I'm not gonna lie, it was starting to get a little miserable there, with things heating up, but thankfully we got that fixed. It did take longer than I wanted it to, because At first, it looked like just the capacitor was out, but then as soon as we got a charge back in the capacitor, the motor locked up, so had to go and fix the motor. Then realized that that was way over my head, and I am not that good at, I am not an engineer of that caliber. So had to get a new motor, had to wait for it to get delivered, and then once it got delivered, I had to wait for help to come back. Because I didn't want to meet my neighbors by getting shot into their garage by miswiring things. So I had to get a friendly pair of hands and extra set of eyes to make sure that we were doing things at least as correctly as we could. And then once we were able to figure it out, get it rewired up, thankfully that seemed to have been the only problem. Now we're just going to try and maintain from here and keep the housing project moving forward, so that hopefully here within the coming weeks we can just dive headfirst into the remodel that needs to be done. And I've got a buddy of mine who's finally coming back home, and once he's back home, I'm essentially going to have not that I don't have reliable help now, because I do. It's just he's going to be incredibly close by, and he's already stated that he needs excuses to get out of his where he's going to be anyway. So we're going to spend the summer doing a good bit of TLC and extra work, and see if we can't muster up a couple of good projects to build, and see how much we can transform this place a little bit. Because, like I said, we're going to need, the gutters are going to need replaced, but me and him can do that ourselves. We'll probably wait until the off season in the fall to go and purchase what's necessary for that, because it'll be cheaper. Depending on how our little surprise winds up going, we might wind up doing some work under the house, and then my back deck needs to be replaced, but unfortunately the city I live in is very, the best word to use here, they're anal retentive about you doing work that either expands your square footage or even just fixes certain things. So typically they will be, they require you to get somebody else to do permits, which can get very expensive very quickly. And then of course I would have to pay somebody for the labor and the material on top of a permit, which gets to be stupidly expensive. Or I can ship of Theseus a few things, because there's nothing in the rule book about, quote unquote, doing repairs. And if I have a little bit of help, all that is what we're doing, is we're just repairing things until it's no longer the same thing anymore. So that will be my workaround, is we're going to see what's still good on, in terms of the skeleton of it, and then just kind of ship of Theseus the rest of it, get it all nice and fixed up, get a nice good water treatment on it once all of that is done, and then I will be looking to expand and build myself a off the ground fire pit for cooking and for bonfire use. Which, hey, if everything works out, maybe you guys will even get to see me working on some of that, if that would be something you guys would be interested in. So yeah, there's going to be lots of fun things coming down the pipeline on the channel in the coming months, as well as just the regular general fun and chaos that we get up to. And I absolutely love that you guys are here along for the ride with me. Because I love every bit of this, and I have just such a blast getting to sit back and kind of dream this stuff up and do it with you guys. Oh, that was still wet. Damn it. Oh well. Nothing a little wash at the end of the night won't fix. Alright, let's see. Absolutely love this bigger brush, specifically for these reasons of just tackling these bigger aspects of the projects. This thing saves me so much time. But yeah, no, I'm very glad to be back because I very much missed you guys, and I hate that I've just been so worn out from work and tired from the bits and pieces of the housing project that I have been working on. So I'm very much looking forward to getting back in the swing of things and still getting, a good bit of stuff done. So hopefully we can continue on this nice, somewhat streamlined forward path. And then we can just rock everything out, hopefully in the best way possible without too much pain or headache. acrylic smells awful. So, probably be better if I held it a little further away from my head. You know, it also just occurred to me I'm not wearing my glasses, which explains a couple of things, but alright, that works. Not fully back into the swing of things, but enough into it that I am still able to get a good chunk accomplished. But yeah, definitely gonna need my glasses for the more detailed work. That'll probably be coming up on Wednesday. Because, like I said, we're probably only going to get a decent little chunk of this done tonight. And now the problem I find is that everything is still wet and I'm running out of handholds. Oh. Stretch and hydrate, everybody. As I know, I've been sitting in the same position for a little while, so I know I'm starting to get stiff, but no reason for you guys to. Oh. Did we hiccup again? Why OBS is having such a problem? I guess I'll do some troubleshooting after stream just to make sure I'm not like losing connection or anything randomly, and I just painted over something I shouldn't have. Oh well, we can go back over it with the correct color later. It ain't gonna kill me. Landon, you can't be shrimping all the time now. Don't need to give yourself any more problems, because I know I have to. I know you guys hear it quite often when I lean back too far, where my chest cracks and pops. screw it. We'll just go ahead and get all of that nice and covered. API, okay, so come on, Twitch, get your shit together. I don't understand why. Or what would be causing it. Because, I mean, I've got everything set up the way that it's supposed to. So I don't understand. That was very wet. I shouldn't have touched that. I don't understand what would keep causing it to drop when I'm not doing anything other than just having the fucking program run. Question, Landon. Do you happen to have one of those like little? There are those little like semi-spike cylinders that you lay on the floor and just kind of let roll up your back as you roll down it. Those are fantastic in terms of getting those like stubborn and impossible to reach areas. But also, I know I sent you a couple of them. They're probably lost in the sea of Instagram reels that I've sent you. But there were a couple of them that I sent you that were about like specific spots you couldn't typically reach with a stretch or whatnot to relieve tension and crack or pop that in areas that were giving the body trouble. Damn it, I touched it again. I know I sent a couple of those to you, but you know, they may have gotten lost in the sea. Ah, okay, yeah, foam roller of torture. Yeah, those things are, yeah, they are torturous, but oh my god, do they absolutely relieve a shit ton of pressure and tension, especially if it's built up for way too long. Damn it, that was still wet too. Fuck! But, I mean, if you can find it, I would recommend it. I'm sorry to hear that. I'll see if I can't search up some of my interesting little health guru ones. See if I can't find one or two that I can send you that may work. Because I know there's, I forget the exact motion you do, but you essentially take your hand, bend it down, bend your hand almost backwards, and go over to the opposite hip and twist. And that actually gets the spot in between your shoulder blades. That gets to be a real pain in the ass to try and pop. That, I know that has helped me in the past, and I'm trying my damnedest not to wipe my nose with my, hands covered in paint. That would be quite humorous, I'm sure, but... Okay. I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I know how that chronic pain winds up building, and I hate that you're part of the chronic pain gang like I am. So if there's anything that I can find that helps, I will happily pass it along because I know whatever little bit of relief that I can find from it, uh, I absolutely love. And it does wonders for me. So if I can find something that'll work and help you, then that'll at least count for something. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we can get. This whole thing doesn't need to be done just where the dragon head will kind of lie and connect here. This is what we'll paint up as this, and then I can get the magnets inside of that. When they get here on tomorrow, I can go ahead and glue those down tomorrow, and that'll do some good, at least in terms of a good way to start. And then we can go back through and knock out all the good and wild details that we can add to this. Go. I don't know, I love the process of this because it doesn't look like much, and then all of a sudden, after a coat or two of paint, an idea here and there, and then all of a sudden you now have this completely different thing than what you started off with. And I absolutely love that process. I guess in a way, kind of like how, because I know I love watching like the speed draws of where people will speed up their artistic process of what they've done to create a drawing or whatnot. Like, I love seeing how, it started off as something that, in some cases, like their sketch or doodle of it is just kind of like a bunch of random shapes in the vague semblance of like a pose or something, and then all of a sudden the details just start flying off of their brush or their pen, and pretty soon it's completely unrecognizable from what it started off as. And now it's this, gorgeous idea that they were able to put from mind to pen. Like, I absolutely love that. And this is other than my weird wordsmithing. This is about as good as my artistic expression can get. It's just, a little bit of paint here and there, a little bit of good idea, a little bit of experimentation, and voila. Something new and unique that I can at least be proud that I tried to do something with. And even if you screw up, like, do it anyway. What's the fun in doing something if there's no risk? Because I could sit here and I could paint 1,000 things, but if I don't screw up one time, does that mean I'm a good painter, a good artist? Or does that mean I'm not doing anything to challenge that artistic ability? Some would say that if I were able to pull all of that off, that means I have mastered the craft. To me, that just tells me that, maybe I'm not pushing that boundary because I'm doing something overly safe. Yoda intensified. You did not try, though. You did. The Master Yoda intensifies. But yeah, no, like, seriously, in terms of, like, yeah, I push, like, I could push myself and try to create something wild and zany that I haven't done before. Like, this is a massive project. Same with the, the Dice Tower. Like, I easily could have just been like, yeah, no, I could just leave it as is and just get the magnets and glue the magnets down, and then, hey, I can tell you what this is, and you can just kind of imagine how you think it should look. But no, I'm gonna go ahead and give this the good old college try. And if I screw up, yeah, it would suck to have, I would hate to have to, harass Hammer down one more time to get another one of these. But at the same time, I love his work, so would I really be that upset having to get another one? And then on top of that, hey, I tried this. This is what it came up as. This is how it turned out. I was trying to do this, XYZ. What could I have done differently to achieve that outcome that I was after? And, that in and of itself could easily be, that now I have perspective. Okay, hey, if I'm going to do this, I know that this is going to be what happens if I attempt that. How do I change that aspect so it doesn't become what it did last time? And, slowly but surely, I'll figure something out. Just try it again. You know where things kind of went off the rails last time. Get to that point again, and then try something different. Go in a different direction. Try a different technique. Do Just experiment. Have fun. See what you find out. Oh, that was almost bad. I don't need to set that down like that. Let's see. Okay. Okay, let's see. Hey, I'm getting pretty good at doing this crap one-handed. Nice. Alright, let's see here. That is the wrong brush. Pay attention, Alda. I get it. We're all getting tired. But we're almost done for the night, so let's see what we can knock out. A nice crimson in here. Probably would help if I put things on camera for you instead of just, oh yeah, I'm doing the thing. So let's move back into frame here. Let's see if we can get the interior of this nice crimson color. Since the character that this dice vault is basically going to be used for is the character I'm playing in that campaign. And his main color is red. I may have to go and find another red cup, because I'm going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel of this one here fairly soon. But this is also going to look fantastic with its clear coat on it. Doesn't matter if I get a little bit of red in places it doesn't need to be. I can go over it with another color. alligator. I think the interior will be a nice contrast because the exterior is going to be, you know, the black and green. Interior will look nice as a bright crimson. I think that'll contrast really well. Or at least I hope it does. Sorry for the hyper focus, but I can tell even though it was a short day at work, I know I slept like crap last night, so I know it's starting to, the day is wonderfully starting to catch up to me. So thankfully, we don't have too terribly much longer. But we're at least gonna get a good chunk of this done. Probably need to go back over this with a fresher red. On Wednesday. That'll be fine though. Yeah, I'm starting to run out of red now. Well, I do appreciate you hanging out with me to get through the last bit of it, despite the eepiness. But thankfully, I think once we hit the end of this part of it, I will probably just get ready to call it a night, because, yeah, at this point, I'm not going to have enough red to do anything on the opposite side, or at least do much of anything worth it on the opposite side. And like I said, with how I can see the gaps in the red on this one, I'll probably, when I open a new red, I'll probably have to go back over this anyway, at least to try and even out the red a little bit. Alright, we're almost there. Okay. Not a bad start. I think that will probably be about as much as we can get done tonight. There you go. View over here. View here, that way we don't run the risk of knocking that into the floor to damage it. Okay. So I can at least say I'm pretty happy with how tonight has turned out. We got a good head start on this amazing looking dice vault. And I really look forward to getting to work back on that again. Because that is going to be... This is easily going to be one of my favorite projects. I'm very happy with how our Plague Doctor Dice Tower has turned out. He looks absolutely fantastic, so I will be very happy to go ahead and get him finished tomorrow. What I'll do is, after I come home from work, I'll sit back and blast him and every part of him with the clear coat, and once that clear coat dries, I'll glue him to his base, and I'll probably do the touch-ups for because I don't know if you can really see it for the necklace and whatnot, but there's a couple of points here on the ridges, the tips of the horns, and a little bit back here where the chain was bouncing it around, where the paint has kind of been rubbed off. And the same can be said for the ring. Was a little bit of paint got rubbed off from all the adventuring out at the Ren Fair, so I will probably do those touch-ups when we get to the end of the Dice Vault. And once we get to the end of the Dice Vault, we will start this beautiful little critter and his greater evil that comes with him, which, like I said, that is scheduled to be here on Wednesday. We'll see if it gets here on Wednesday or not. I should have the magnets for the vault tomorrow, so I will go ahead and see if I can install those. But yeah, I mean, that clears a good little bit off of my table, and then honestly what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find a spot for some of these things that I have already finished painting up. While I talk, I'll go ahead and wash up. But yeah, because I have so many minis, they're kind of taking over the table here. So I will attempt to find a spot for them, at least in the interim, until I'm ready to move them into their quote-unquote final resting places, for when I run my D&D games and get to start everything back up, which I know I'm excited about it, and I know a couple of my players who know some of the evils that I've gotten, they're highly excited to get back into it as well. But really, I'm very excited for how different everything will be once I get it set up the way that I want it. Because I will be, for those of you who don't know, I absolutely love to host, and I love hosting dinner parties, I love hosting, my friends over and things like that. So, here, we're gonna, come on, there you go. Let's see. 1 second.
we go. But yeah, I absolutely love to host and hang out with my friends and whatnot. So I would, once I have things set back up, it is going to be wonderful to actually get to do that again, as well as just be able to have this place set up for me and my gremlins, as well as any of the friends that I'll be able to host and hang out with a bit more often here. So there are big things coming down the way. I am super excited to get to share all of that with you as soon as we get to the point of actually being able to do so. I do have several big plans for the channel, especially within the, coming year. So we're just going to sit back and see exactly what all we can get done, how much we can get done, and see what fun shenanigans and what more of this goofy journey we get to take together. But I think at this point, because I know it's gonna, since it died on me at one point, I'm pretty sure that's gonna cause tonight to be a double upload. Because yeah, Twitch is only showing 2 hours for me, which I need to look into what the hell is going on with Twitch as to why I'm having this API issue, because we were having this problem last go round, before the Ren Fair as well, where it just kept sputtering out all of a sudden. So we'll look into what we can for that and we'll see what kind of shenanigans we can get into. But I thank you all so much for hanging out with me. It was absolutely great to sit here and continue to have conversations with you throughout the night. I absolutely love getting to do that. Zion Cherry, welcome aboard. I greatly appreciate you for the follow. And again, thank you for everybody who hung out with me, and we got a good bit of stuff done tonight. So I look forward to seeing what we wind up getting, what more we wind up getting to get into on, Wednesday. We'll see how things wind up going. But until then, I will catch you guys all either in the server, in other friends' streams, or we will either catch you guys back here again on Wednesday, and we'll go from there. So you guys have a wonderful night, afternoon, morning, evening, however it finds you. And we'll catch you here soon. Va fail, everybody.